Most women don't know if their money mindset is healthy because what feels normal is actually what's keeping them stuck. Hi, I'm Veronica Rosa, founder of Vitality and Values Wellness, and today we're going to uncover something profound. Is your money mindset healthy, broken, or toxic? Because the way you think about money shows up in your business, in your relationships, and it shows up in how you eat. It shows up in your everyday habits. So type in ready in the comments if you are open to seeing your patterns clearly. I know this is it's intimidating, and it's not about name calling or judgment. It's about awareness. So let's take it in. Your money mindset is the way you think, feel, and act around money. How it shows up in your spending habits, how you save, how you invest, how you price yourself, how you receive. And most of it was learned, it wasn't chosen. So let's break this down clearly. A healthy mindset sounds like I can learn how to manage money. I invest with intention. I don't feel guilty for growing. I trust myself with money. I open my bank accounts every morning and check my bank accounts. The woman with healthy money mindset plans ahead. She invests wisely. She has strong boundaries and she builds for the long term. She's not just thinking about right here and right now in the moment. Type in healthy in the comments if this feels like where you are going. Because the truth is that most people are in a broken money mindset. This is the norm. And it may sound bad, but this is the reality of our society. So it sounds like I know I need to change, but I don't know how. I am avoiding looking at my money. I feel overwhelmed. I start things, but then I don't follow through. It shows up in inconsistent income. It shows up in avoiding decisions. It keeps you stuck. Like I said, this is actually a norm in our society. But type broken if this feels familiar to you and you are ready to break free from the norm. Now, a toxic money mindset that runs deep. Just remember that toxic stems from living in survival mode. And it sounds like this: money is bad. Rich people are greedy. I don't deserve more. If I grow, I will lose people. And it will show up in all areas of your life as self sabotaging, having fear of success, overgiving, undercharging. Now type in learned in the comments if you are realizing that your habits came from what you saw or heard growing up. The truth is that your business will only grow to the level of your mindset. So if your mindset is broken, your income will be inconsistent. If your mindset is toxic, you'll self sabotage opportunities. And if it's healthy, you will build with confidence. Now, let's type growth in the comments if you are ready for this next level. Now, this is a part that most women miss. Mindset alone is not enough. You can think positive, you can journal, you can affirm, but structure. Without structure, you stay stuck. You fall off the bandwagon. Even for myself, as I'm working on She Means Business and Heal and Rise, I fell off the bandwagon of my shed and shine structure. And so I've gained weight, I've fallen off. And so how do I get back to it when you have all of these different things to worry about: work, your personal needs, if you're married, your spouse, your kids, your mom. You have all of these daily activities that we get lost in the sauce. So that's why having a structure is so important. It's not that I'm lucky or, successful people are lucky. We have structure, we have notes, and we fall back. And so it's good to have this structure because sometimes we'll fall back out of the structure, and then when we remember, hey, this is my goal, I want to get this. Now you have a blueprint on how to get you back on track. So, and that's exactly why I partnered with Carrie Ann, because she helped me and she helps other women build that structure so that it fits for our unique lifestyle. And having the structure is what helps us stay consistent with these healthier habits. So, Carrie Ann, can you share on how this shows up in business? I know that for me personally, you've helped me create a safe space where I can put all my cards on the table and say, this is what I have, this is what I want. I don't know how to do it. And I didn't feel judged. I was able to take self-criticism and say, okay, this is where my weaknesses are, but and then look at this is where my strengths are. Okay, this is what I am missing. And not only did you help me create those systems, I had a weekly meeting with somebody who was my accountability partner who wasn't judgmental. She was like, okay, let's figure this out. Calm and collective, and like let's map this out. So I want you to just turn it over to you, Carrie Ann. Let us know how this shows up in business for you.
Sure. Thanks, Veronica. Hi, I'm Carrie Ann Kroll, and I'm a business operations strategist and the founder of Kroll Consulting. And what Veronica just talked about is so important because we talk about mindset, and that always just doesn't stay in our heads. It shows up in how we operate every day. So, one of the things I noticed both personally for myself and through the women I work with, that the money mindset often reveals itself less through what we say and more through the decisions we consistently make. So just like Veronica mentioned, we see it show up in, of course, financial decisions, right? But also in planning habits, pricing, and spending patterns. Avoidance of numbers, right? Like those money blocks. I don't want to talk about money. I don't want to think about money. I don't want to talk about investing. I don't want to talk about finances. Also lack of boundaries and kind of overall way that women often structure their business and their lives. Because sometimes what looks like a money issue isn't necessarily a money or finance, I should say, finance issue. It's not that the money isn't there or the money is lacking or that the money can't be earned. It's a pattern of operating from fear, from stress, from survival mode. A few weeks ago, Veronica and I talked about scarcity mindset, right? So we see that with a lot of women in business. I see this with some of the nonprofits I work with as well, of course. But women who are smart, capable, hardworking, but constantly carrying financial pressure in the background. And I think when financial stress becomes normal, it quietly and sometimes unconsciously is quietly starting to drive those decisions that we make. And it's not always in an obvious way. And Veronica mentioned underpricing, right? We're underpricing because we're afraid people will say no. So if you're a business owner and you've underpriced because you're afraid people will say no because, oh, well, who does she think she is that she's going to charge that much and think I'm going to pay that to work with her? I've done it. Those of you who know me know I have done it. And if you've done that in your business, raise your hands or type in the chat. I've done it. I've done it because I know you've done it. Or avoiding your numbers, not even knowing your numbers, just avoiding them because they feel overwhelming. You don't want to plan because it just feels safer to be uncertain than to be disappointed. And you continue to just do everything yourself because spending feels uncomfortable. And what if, well, if I spend this now, then I'm dipping into that money that I have. And what if I need this money because I need to have it and I need to have it saved? But then if I pay someone to help me do something, and it's not just in business, right? If it's having someone come to help you around the house or hiring someone to clean the house or mow the lawn or do the things that's taking away from your funds, from your money financially, or in a business hiring a virtual assistant or hiring someone to do your social media. It's taking away from your liquid funds or your money that you have, but it's also freeing up your time in which you can have the time to make more money or at home have the freedom to spend more time with your family. But sometimes when we have those money blocks, we don't look at it that way. We just don't see it that way. It's very black and white. And we're, can constantly be reactive, right? Instead of building the structure, we're focusing on the immediate pressure of like, I've got to earn that money. I've got to earn that money. I have to hold on to this instead of, wait, if I plan this out, I do a lot of quarterly planning with my clients. Well, if I plan this for a quarter and I know what that's going to look like, I do have breathing room. I can take a vacation. I can take some time off. I can hire someone to help me for a couple hours a week. So I think even though we think money creates stability, these patterns can create instability, right? Because then there's burnout. And you feel burned out. And then, am I not motivated enough? Am I not capable?
Resentment.
Go ahead.
Resentment.
Yes. Yes, resentment or I just have too much, I do too much, and you're operating without enough breathing room, without enough structure. And then you're making decisions not from a place of clarity and from a place of scaling or design or growth on your business. You're making it from that fear of what if that money's not there? Well, if you have the mindset like Veronica talked about, you can have the mindset, and Veronica is great at helping you build that up and build that mindset and have those values within, and then creating that structure that becomes that healthier relationship with money and then a healthier relationship with yourself, because it's about creating environments, habits, and the systems and support to give you that stability, and make you think a little bit clearer. So when you plan ahead, you're just reducing kind of that chaos and that wheel. Like everything keeps continuing and it's like you're not getting any further. But when you simplify your processes, you build your routines, you're creating that structure and reducing that unnecessary stress. And I'm not talking about rigidity here, because it's not going to be rigid. You just want breathing room. Like we're talking about just breathing room to make financial decisions. Um, because it's if you've learned to survive in chaos, which I am one of those people, it doesn't mean that you're supposed to stay there forever, right? Sometimes that chaos is what gets you to where you are and you claw your way out, and that's your grit. But when that healthier money mindset starts, you realize that you were just avoiding things because it felt uncomfortable. You really weren't as stable as you thought because you were making decisions from emotion and not really practical things. So I think it's just about changing how you operate and not, that constant pressure in reaction mode. So I think really it's kind of healing that relationship with money and realizing it isn't just emotional. There is that emotional component, but it's really taking that emotion and putting that structure around it to say, hey, what would help me feel more stable and supported? What habits are creating more financial pressure, right? So I think really just looking at all those pieces, and not beating yourself up about it, right? It's recognizing it, right? Recognizing it is the first step. And if you are recognizing it and you are reaching out for help and you don't want to burn out, I always tell clients there is no business without you. And sometimes I need to take that. We all know, those who know me, know I need to take that to heart myself, right? We can't run ourselves ragged and burn out. And the financial pressure is no joke. But if we're only acting from emotion and not from structure and not from a plan, that's not great. So I think all those pieces are important, that you really need to have all of them in place to work together.
Absolutely. I believe a lot of us did start a business from chaos, and that's all we know, and we have our daily duties. The time is ticking and we feel like we're falling behind, because one thing I've noticed, one thing for myself, was taking time off to plan, like taking time off to plan, planning time to plan. And
Yeah.
so that was huge. And I would used to be coming in with my Mountain Dew. I don't drink Mountain Dew, but like all anxious and like, I don't have time. I can't meditate. I need to get to work. I got this and that. And so one small little structure that I changed within myself was, first get rid of the Mountain Dew, because that was causing more anxiety and, shakiness, and like, I can't focus. I can't do this. And I am on the And then the second thing was get a notebook, and I started just notating everything, a to-do list. This needs to be done, this and this. It just kept going and going and going. And what I didn't, scratch it off. What I did, scratch it out. What I did not do, put it to the next day. Take it to the next day. Then I started realizing I started seeing my patterns, my habits. Well, why do I keep avoiding this part? And this is crucial because I need this in order to build the bridge between the next step where I want to get. And so by tapping in deeper, I realized there was old belief systems that were learned, was learned behavior, whether it was my culture, my religion, my society, that was like a woman shouldn't do this, a woman should do that. And that mostly is like a woman thing. Women do this and women do that. And so there's a lot of belief systems that no longer serve us in this day and age, in this lifetime. And so as we close to today, I want you to remember that you are not your past patterns, and you are not your old belief systems, and you are not stuck. We just need to make new and better choices. Then today you have a choice. You have the choice to stay in survival mode or to start building with intention. Carrie Ann helped me do that. I had we're both good in our own professions, but when we come together, magic happens. And so if you are realizing I need help with my money mindset and my habits, or I need structure and a real plan, that's why Carrie Ann and I created She Means Business. We will be hosting a 3-week event to create a safe space for all of you women who are in business or who want to start a business, to help you create. We're going to create a safe spot, a safe space where you can come and throw all your cards on the table and say, okay, this is what I got. This is how I got started. This is what's going on. These are my numbers. Number one, knowing your numbers. And we're going to help you reset your business operations, because like I said, most of us started businesses from survival mode. We are no longer in survival mode. I went from aggressive to being gracefully. And so maybe I was like, Matt, oh, you're not a business. I'm going to show you and get out of my way. And I'm going to put my business. And I started my business, but I had that pride that why proved them wrong. I'm a businesswoman, but then I had that block where I was like, I'm too proud now to say I need help in this next step. And I'm so glad that Korean was my friend, where I was able to, it was kind of like a secret agent. I didn't realize that what she was up to. No, I'm just kidding. She didn't have any, she wasn't up to anything, but having the friendship and her profession, I was able to express myself, be vulnerable, and say, this is what's going on. Yeah, maybe it looks all fine and dandy and on the outside, but in the inside, I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with that, and this is what I would like to do. So we create that safe space where you can come and put all your cards on the table, and we help you do a business operations reset. So again, we're no longer working out of survival mode, and we're living day by day, but we are building and rising with a strategy and a structure, and most importantly, with safe accountability partners. I will put up a link in the description with an early sign up as to when that will be available. But yeah, that's why we created She Means Business. And join us for our next session on how to create stems of income using your natural gifts. Because we're going to rise with structure, and we're going to build with structure, and we're going to rise with strategy. Yes, girl. High five.
Yes. High five. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.